Ever wondered how Avatar Aang made a comeback in 2026 with a twist that shocked the world?
Hey everyone, I'm Leah, feeling pretty excited today.
And I'm Garrett, ready to dive into this amazing topic. Welcome to Laid Back Learning with Leah and Garrett. Today we're exploring the fascinating world of Avatar Aang, the Last Airbender, 2026 film.
I remember the first time I watched the original series. I was supposed to do homework, but you know how it goes. The mix of humor and these really deep questions about mercy and balance just hooked me. I still think about Aang choosing nonviolence at the end of the war. That choice felt brave because it resisted easy power. So when I heard there was a continuation with the original creative voices guiding it, I was truly thrilled to see how those values would carry forward.
All right, let me paint the picture for this film. Avatar Aang, The Last Airbender is an American animated fantasy action movie directed by Lauren Montgomery. She's a longtime Avatar veteran who storyboarded on the original series and helped run The Legend of Korra. The screenplay is by Tim Hedrick and Christopher Yost from a story by Brian Konietzko, Michael Dante DiMartino, Hedrick, and Kenneth Lin. So yeah, the family is back together.
And the big context is Avatar Studios, a division Nickelodeon formed in 2021 with Konietzko and DiMartino as co-chief creative officers. In simple terms, it's a home base for new Avatar projects with the original architects steering the ship. Making this film their first project basically says we are continuing the canon with care and building the universe for the long term.
Casting-wise, they recentered authenticity. Eric Nam, the singer and actor, voices Aang. Steven Yeun, who a lot of folks know from Minari and The Walking Dead, voices Zuko. The idea was to align voice actors with the cultures that inspired the nations in the story. That's pretty cool, right?
Totally. Casting director Jenny Yu talked about that alignment, and Mae Whitman, who originally voiced Katara, publicly supported handing the role to a non-white actor this time. It's a recalibration toward representation rather than a rejection of legacy performances, which honestly feels thoughtful.
So, beginning of the journey. In 2021, Avatar Studios was announced. That's Viacom CBS saying, "We are creating a dedicated studio to expand this universe." It centralized creative decisions with the original creators, which for fans, that's instant confidence.
Then, in 2022, Lauren Montgomery was named director. She's an animation pro who knows Avatar action rhythm and character beats from the inside. That continuity matters because translating TV pacing to a feature can trip people up. She already speaks the language.
We also learned the film would focus on the original Team Avatar in young adulthood. That sets the tone. It's still the world we know, but the stakes are post-war reconstruction, not just surviving the 100-Year War.
And on the talent side, writers Tim Hedrick and Christopher Yost teamed up with co-creators Brian Konietzko and Michael Dante DiMartino, plus Kenneth Lin. So story and script were crafted within the franchise's core voice. That, to me, is a solid guardrail for tone and ethics.
Casting sealed the vibe. Eric Nam as Aang, Jessica Matten as Katara, Ramon Zaragoza as Sokka, Dion Kwan as Toph. That's a lineup designed to match cultural inspirations while still feeling fresh in delivery.
And Steven Yeun stepping in as Zuko is a fun connective thread. He previously voiced Avatar 1 in Korra. So while Dante Basco defined young Zuko, Yeun brings the weight of an older statesman warrior, which fits the character's arc as Fire Lord here.
Small but beloved touch. Ken Jeong voices the cabbage merchant. Quick refresher, he's the unlucky Earth Kingdom vendor whose cart keeps getting wrecked. The running gag is a fan anchor. Hearing it updated was a grin moment.
And continuity and creature voices too. D. Bradley Baker returns as Appa and Momo. For anyone new, he's a master of non-verbal character sounds. Appa's bellows are basically comfort food for the ears.
All right, moving into the middle of the story. Plot-wise, Aang and the crew encounter Taga. He's voiced by Dave Bautista, and Taga's backstory is wild. He started as a non-bender who gained airbending through an artifact tied to Avatar Sonam, an earlier avatar whose staff channels spirit world energy.
The staff is key. It can grant airbending to non-benders and amplify spiritual energy. In simple terms, it bends the rules of bending. That power tempts people to try shortcuts to fix historical loss, which is where the moral conflict heats up.
Enter the Denied. They're a group of non-bending warriors led by Ji, with Kalak among them. They resent the bending hierarchy. When Taga uses Sonam's staff to give them airbending, they become a serious threat, even assaulting Republic City, which is the post-war capital for all nations.
Why does that resentment land so hard here? Because the world is just 13 years past the war. Institutions are fragile, inequality is raw. When grievance meets supernatural force, it can flip a city overnight. The film uses that to ask, can justice be forced, or does it need community and time?
On the technical side, the film is flexing. It blends 2D hand-drawn characters with 3D environments using deep canvas. That's a technique that lets drawn characters move through 3D spaces so cameras can swoop without losing the hand-drawn feel. Think Disney's Tarzan approach, adapted for bending battles and spirit vistas.
Animation vendors are top shelf too. Flying Bark in Sydney led major sequences, Studio Mir in Seoul, known from Korra, contributed, and Studio Puri supported. That international collaboration keeps the action readable even when the scale gets huge, like Storms and Temple Runs.
Meanwhile, Jeremy Zuckerman returned to compose. Quick ID, he scored the original series. With a full orchestra this time, the music widens the emotional range. You can hear deeper strings under spirit world shots and sharper percussion in aerial combat.
There's also a detour where Aang seeks Gorilla Vark, a spirit voiced by Taika Waititi. Gorilla Vark is a quirky but powerful spirit, and their exchange underscores how the spirit world is wobbling because of the staff's misuse. It's a light touch with heavy stakes, which I love.
And Toph runs a metal bending academy now. For anyone new, metal bending is an advanced earthbending technique she invented to bend metal by sensing impurities. Her blunt mentorship cuts through extremist arguments and grounds the group in no-nonsense ethics.
Zuko's presence as Fire Lord is equally stabilizing. Stephen Yeun brings a quieter authority. You feel the arc from enemy to ally to statesman, and it signals cross-nation cooperation when everything starts to spiral.
Now, for the endgame. Aang confronts Taga. He briefly slips into a corrupted avatar state, basically the avatar's power boosted by raw emotion. It's anger-fueled and unstable. He pulls back when he remembers Monk Gyatso's compassion, which is very Aang. Power without peace isn't the goal.
The choice that defines the film is Aang destroying Avatar Sonam's staff. That act strips the Denied of the airbending they were granted, ends Taga's existence as he finds a moment of self-forgiveness, and restores balance between the physical and spirit worlds. It is restraint as heroism.
The aftermath feels hopeful without shortcuts. Aang starts building a new air temple near Republic City. Acolytes step forward to learn air nomad values, and a surviving herd of sky bison appears. Sky bison are the original airbenders, so that's a living foundation for culture, not a magic fix.
It reframes restoration as community over power, basically teach, nurture, and be patient. The legacy is compassion and balance more than raw bending might, which tracks with the franchise's heartbeat.
Critically, the response was generally favorable. Rotten Tomatoes hovered around 87%, with an average rating near 7.1 out of 10. Metacritic logged 68 out of 100. Praise came for visuals and fidelity to the series. Some critics flagged pacing and the trade-offs of aging up the cast.
Outlets like The Wrap and RogerEbert.com highlighted the cinematic ambition. IndieWire and The Hollywood Reporter questioned the rush in parts. That spectrum suggests the film hit the core notes and still sparked lively debate, which is healthy for a franchise stepping into feature territory.
Speaking of debate, here's a thorny one. The film leaked online in April 2026. Early snippets, then reportedly the full film circulated. A suspect in Singapore was arrested for unauthorized server access. Paramount said the leak wasn't caused by a vulnerability in their systems, but the exact method remains publicly unclear.
And there's the distribution pivot. It was once headed for a wide theatrical release, but ended up with a limited 2-theater run in Los Angeles and New York to qualify for awards, then a Paramount Plus streaming launch. The question is whether that was the right call, given the film's scale.
I'll plant my flag gently. The hybrid 2D and 3D look, with deep canvas camera moves begs for big screens. That spatial depth and volumetric lighting breathe in a theater. I think a wider release could have showcased the craft and rewarded the animation teams with that communal wow.
I hear that truly. My counter is accessibility. Streaming collapsed the gap for global fans overnight. In a world where not everyone lives near a specialty theater, that immediate reach matters. Plus, the two-theater window still kept awards eligibility in play. Wider audiences got to experience it together, just at home.
Why do you think reach should trump that cinematic moment here? Is it the timing after the leak or the franchise's audience being so spread out?
Both. The leak complicated marketing, streaming closed the loop fast, reduced spoilers, and gave the crew's work a clean presentation in high quality. And this fan base is global. A day-and-date streaming drop lets conversations bloom without weeks of staggered access. That's a kind of community too.
Fair. My pushback is that animation workers publicly said the leak erased their big moment. I wanted the theatrical run to put that moment back in their hands a bit more. Even a modest expansion might have amplified their achievement. The work looks tailor-made for the big screen's clarity in fast action.
Totally get that. Maybe the path was a slightly longer theatrical window than streaming. But I still think the chosen route balanced awards rules, fan access, and security needs after the breach. It is a tough call, not gonna lie.
Either way, the disputed piece remains: how that leak happened. The claim that Nickelodeon accidentally emailed the film hasn't been verified. The arrest points to unauthorized server access. So until there's a full public postmortem, it's a gray area with real consequences for the people who made this.
Shifting gears to a lighter beat, pop culture ripples. This is the first Avatar Studios production, which is a milestone for the franchise's future. It says the universe is open for business with the original creative ethos intact.
And the Cabbage Merchant cameo with Ken Jeong is a joy. The line is legendary. It's a 7-syllable time machine back to the series. Those small connective threads keep long-running worlds feeling lived in and welcoming for new fans at the same time.
Counterfactual time, what if the April 2026 leak had never happened? Without that disruption, I suspect marketing would have stretched into a longer theatrical push, more teaser drops at conventions, maybe a staggered international rollout to build word of mouth the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, audience anticipation might have brewed slower but steadier. No early footage to jump the gun, just trailer-driven hype and creator Q&As. I could see a fuller IMAX or premium large-format experiment, really letting deep canvas sequences flex.
Industry-wise, maybe fewer emergency takedowns and less anxiety for the crew. Also, the conversation would have centered more on representation choices, the score's orchestral scale, and the return of certain characters, instead of on cybersecurity parallels to those older high-profile leaks.
Do you think the distribution choice would have stayed theatrical first in that world?
I think the odds go up. A leak injects urgency. Without it, a wide release plus a later streaming date feels more likely, especially given the craftsmanship on display and the precedent of fans showing up for eventized animation.
On the flip side, studios do like the streaming-first model for reach and subscriber momentum. So even without the leak, I could see a hybrid plan. Maybe a 3-week theatrical window, then home. Either way, the fan conversation probably would have been less frantic and more celebratory for the crew milestones.
And in that leak-free scenario, the ethical theme at the core might have dominated buzz. Aang destroying a shortcut to power, choosing to rebuild through values and community. That message lands even clearer when chatter is about the text, not the torrent links. Thanks for joining us on this journey through Avatar Aang's world.
Stay curious, everyone. Until next time on Laid Back Learning with Leah and Garrett.